What's up, everyone? Today, Charles Cosmos here. We're going to be going over and ranking all of the DLC characters for Smash, kind of putting them in the tier list. And I mean, it's just the DLC characters too. So there's a pretty wide variety. So I'm pretty excited to get into this.
Yeah, I am too. There's actually, like, looking at all of them, there's actually a pretty good amount of really good DLC characters. So this might actually be pretty difficult because a lot of them are very strong.
All right, yeah. So let's get right into it.
Are you some scrub who can't handle plus frames? Do you cry every night at the thought of Happy Chaos shooting you full screen? Do you think Wouse loused, even though louse just Faust? Well, do I have the offer for you? Tell him, Lord Knight.
What?
Subscribe to the Beast Coast FGC channel today.
There's no DLC in bottom tier, right?
I personally think Piranha Plant's trash.
Okay, so
I
like
think Piranha
mid
Plant's
tier
trash.
or like bottom tier?
I think he's bottom tier, bro. I'm putting him in trash.
Okay,
Putting
okay.
him in trash.
All right.
I think Piranha Plant's
I
trash.
can't.
He's just
Can't really make an
like
argument for that.
he's like, yo, I'm the surprise DLC character, but not really a DLC character because
Right.
it kind of felt like he was part of the base game. So I feel like he was. I mean, he's essentially just the joke character of Smash that was added in. So it's not surprising that he was like the worst DLC character, or just like doesn't have like that many tools to really do anything as compared to the other DLC characters. It's not like he's like he can't do anything at all, because he does have like some good stuff. Like his neutral B, the spike ball is really annoying to deal with, but that's honestly it.
That's kind of it.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not scared of anything else Plant can do.
Right, and it's essentially like if you know how to deal with that move, then you should be fine.
Yeah, should be.
So do you think there's any characters that are C tier for DLC?
Oh,
I think the only one you could argue is Banjo, but I don't think Banjo's that bad.
I don't think Banjo's that bad. I'll still put him in C tier just for the sake of this tier list, to like understand that other characters are like noticeably better than Banjo, because I do think everybody else like does have a slight edge in some kind of way, because Banjo, in my opinion, out of everybody, not counting Plant, is like the most honest character out of everyone that we've seen so far. Like obviously some Banjo can come out of nowhere and be like, yo, I'm past, I can infinite everybody.
Yeah,
but I don't think we're gonna see any Banjo
What?
doing that
You don't think
in
so?
the foreseeable. No, I don't think Hackru gonna come through like blah 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 blah.
Okay.
I don't think that's gonna happen in the foreseeable future. So yeah, he does like have Wondering is very good, but other than that, like he's just like a very basic character in my opinion.
So there's 11 characters total, right?
Yep.
That are
Well,
downloadable?
there's 12 actually, 12
12.
because you count Plant.
Okay.
There was Plant, and then 5 in the first pass, and then 6 in the second pass.
So okay. And so now we're going on to B tier. I don't think there's another character in C, right?
Yeah, that's probably the last one I'd put in C. By the way, and this is going to be ordered. By the way, this is going to be
Okay,
ordered.
going to be ordered. All right, so B tier, I'm thinking what, Sephiroth?
Well, we're ordering it from bottom to top first, so I would put Hero next. I
Oh,
definitely
that's
think
right,
Sephiroth
Hero.
is better than Hero. Yeah, because Hero does have lots of his like stats are kind of like.
Dang,
his,
I
his
think
normals.
Hero's pretty good, dude.
You think Hero's better than Sephiroth?
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's like weird because buffing in this game I think is really strong because the game gets campier and campier, but there are rushdown characters too. So,
But at the current moment, people are starting to play faster. I do agree that like the better players are starting to play a little bit faster.
he has a speed
Except
buff.
maybe Tweak. Tweak is playing slower.
He has a
He
speed
does
buff
have a speed buff. He does have a speed buff.
that you have to
And
roll
he
for.
does, yeah. The thing is that he does have a speed buff, and he does have buffs that force you to want to play slower. So
Right, but I think Sephiroth is better than Hero though. So
yeah,
like I think
I
putting
just think that
Hero in his own tier is justifiable for sure.
yeah, I just think that Hero is like, I value consistency more than
Right.
like RNG peak, and Hero theoretically could be in S tier if he like got all the right rolls. But that's not really plausible. And Sephiroth usually would get wing, and even whenever he doesn't have wing, he still has pretty decent stats and pretty like good normals, better normals than Hero does. So, and
Right.
he has really good set play with his side B.
Now
I would
there's
still put Sephiroth in B tier actually. I would just
right.
put him
I'm trying to
above.
think. So like there's A and then S. Yeah. So I think Sephiroth and currently Sora. I say currently because Sora's kind of like Banjo, where I feel like there's a big asterisk because Like that character can touch a death a lot of the cast.
Yeah,
right?
it's that character is still like he's still very underdeveloped.
Right.
Very
So
very underdeveloped.
I think like Banjo and Sora should be higher, but keep in mind that we're talking like the current power levels. So
Current power level.
current power levels. Like there's a lot of underdeveloped characters in this game.
Right,
so,
right.
Some are unreal. I'll admit that Banjo's unrealistic. I don't think Sora's unrealistic at all though. Like Sora's punish game becoming like touch of death and all that crazy stuff like is very realistic compared to like Task Banjo, right?
Yeah.
So I'll hold the L on Banjo, but I still think pretty highly of Sora. But just like the Sora players aren't there yet, which is fine. It's still hard. So,
but right now we can definitely agree that Sephiroth would be like one like still in B tier, but above Hero.
Above
right?
Hero, yes.
Yeah.
My big question mark is if we're gonna put Sora in B, like higher than Sephiroth.
In the current meta, I don't. They're kind of. That's hard. Actually,
It is hard.
That is really hard. Because
I want to put
are,
Sora
like,
in A. I personally want to put Sora in A.
Right now in the current meta, I mean, Sora has won a major.
Yeah, people forget, and then Zachary never plays him again. But still, people forget.
Yep, Sora has won a major. There are some characters that are going to be higher than Sora that haven't won a major. So I feel like we should at least. I would put Sora in A tier. The only thing is that like Sora's disadvantage right now is really bad. His disadvantage is really bad, and I don't know if it's going to get any better. But like comparing Sora to Sephiroth, like they're kind of similar in like their normals and like currently their damage output. But Sephiroth's is faster. Sora has a little bit better damage output and a better off-stage game, but his disadvantage is really bad because of his double jump. So that's the only thing that's holding me back. But I do think that like being able to like wall people out and like zone characters out with your projectiles is something that Sora has over honestly most of the other DLC characters. So I'd probably still put him in A. Honestly, I'm
bottom of A. Shake.
Bottom
we're
of
shaking
A.
on it.
Shake.
So I definitely feel like it should be higher, but we're working on this together. We can be civil about this. Bottom of A. Next, now I think we get into like the really hard part because I currently feel like
most of these characters can be kind of like interchangeable, honestly.
Very interchangeable. Like obviously Joker, Pyro are gonna be on S. I don't know if we're gonna like put Steve up there with them or not. It's like that's where we get hard because we also have to theory craft like Steve's punish game. But like Terry, Byleth, I think those two are gonna be next up for sure in terms of like the A tier because we're in A right now, right? So I feel like there's gonna be a lot of characters in A. A lot of characters.
Yeah. And it's hard because Kazuya's there too, and a lot of people are debating like which one is better between Terry and Kazuya, because a lot of people do believe that Terry is like the more consistent one, but like the damage output one and the touch of death one is Kazuya. So it's like if you do get that one hit, but like his like stats in neutral are not as good as Terry's.
Right, and he does like his burst option is that's where Kazuya very much so lacks. Burst options are very important in this game. If you don't have a really good one, or the range of your burst option isn't that really good, or you don't have the speed to make the range of your burst option good, then you get cornered pretty easily, you get camped out pretty easily, right? Terry having
but if he touches you literally explode.
Right, like I don't even think if he if he gets next to you, it's like the situation's so good for him because he has a bunch of like more than half his moves like make him go intangible, and like you can't really. It's very hard to challenge him. Electric is essentially a spot dodging attack that like is safe on block. Like
a lot of his attacks are honestly spot
so
dodging attacks.
I personally think Kazuya will eventually be better than Terry. I think right now Terry's better, but I personally think Kazuya like.
Do you think they're better than Byleth though? Both of them? Or do you think Violet's better than them?
God, see, like, this is where we get, like, into how do they do against the current, or, like, what we think is going to be the current meta or the current meta. I think...
Because I don't want to base my entire opinion off of Byleth off of what I believe, what I see MK Leo doing, but it's just like what I see Leo doing is like abusing Nair, and I see it. That Nair is a very powerful tool. Like if I put that Nair on any character, like I'm looking at all the characters now, if I put that Nair on any character, that character would go up probably at least two tiers because that Nair is very, very strong.
I think Byleth is better. than both the fighting game characters, in my opinion. But like I value like safety and range a lot. So
I
it's
can
like,
agree with that.
and then I think Kazuya is better than Terry. So that's my personal opinion.
I personally think Kazuya is better than Terry too.
It's like
So
not. I don't think it's by much, but like
yeah, I'll put Terry right
it's
above
also just
Sora
like
for now.
matchup dependent too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I think Kazuya is like probably one of the best like counterpick characters in the game. If we're looking through the lens of like solo main, like maybe Terry, you just go with Terry because he's just more consistent all around, right?
Yeah.
But Kazuya's highs are like crazy, and like when you get in, like they should just die, right? I think that
Well,
Kazuya's highs are so high.
I would still put them right by each other. Just Terry or Kazuya slightly higher than Terry, and then this is still A tier, by the way. I would put next Byleth right above Kazuya in A tier still. That's
Right.
where I would put them.
Now, I think the biggest debate that we're going to be coming up on is if Steve is S tier. I think that's hard. I personally think he's S tier.
I think he's A tier.
So
So let's talk about this.
Let's talk about this.
Why do you think he's S tier?
I think.
Actually, since you think he's S tier, let me go first.
Okay.
I think he's A tier because I still value like base stats over punish game currently.
Right.
And I know Steve has like probably the craziest punish game out of anyone in here, except maybe Min Min, depending on the character she's fighting, because if Min Min just gets you off stage, something you could just die, or if Joker gets you off stage, still something you could just die. I just see Steve's base stats and like still think he's really slow, like, and he is a pretty I would say set play kind of character, because like you have to start mining when the game starts. You have to like wait until you get your mats to be like the better character. So like if you aren't able to get those mats and like you're playing a character that can like rush you down, or even a character that can like just throw projectiles at you to stop you, even if you build a wall, like the wall's not going to be there forever, and like they can like deal with the wall too. So like there's still like a lot of counterplay that I see to Steve, and like just the stats of Steve being really slow, having a really bad jump, having to get the mats. Like I can see him struggling to be consistent if he isn't able to like do those things consistently, which is why I would put him in A tier over S tier. Because the characters I put in S tier are the characters that would be very consistent.
I think that currently Steve, the one thing that really holds Steve back is like the current meta, like Cloud being, you know, very visible in top level play with like Cola and Spargo, obviously. Cloud, Sephiroth are pretty tough matchups for Steve. I think any character that has speed plus disjoints that can essentially pressure Steve while mining, but not putting themselves next to Steve. Because when you put yourself next to Steve, then you can get 0 to death, right? That's why I think Steve, as an overall kit, like there is inconsistencies, but there's things to make the inconsistencies a little like kind of just damage control it. Because it's like if you don't go next to Steve and you don't interact with him because you don't want to get 0 to death, he's mining diamond, right? So it's like, well, then once he has 3 diamond, like he has to win way less interactions to actually just like raw kill you, and he can play a straight hit game with like bears and fairs, and it's like not the best, but it's pretty solid. I also think like right now there's a bunch of, you know, block tech with nils that obviously is just going to make them 0 to death, but there's also nil tech to be used off stage with like rolling on a block, then you hold B to buffer the block off stage, and then you can like nil and make a wall. Like I just think the character in the future should be S tier. Especially if players start like planking and stuff. Like once a top level Steve starts planking, like we're gonna have to make a ledge grab limit. Like it's just I still can't believe that oversight in the game. Just like you being on a block and being able to grab ledge and have intangibility. Like I cannot believe they did not think about that to this day. And if we ever do have a patch, I think that's gonna be the thing that gets patched.
It is hard too, because like I do like to take out like, or I do like to think about like the like outside game, or like the not exactly the mental game, but like the like player game too. And it's like if you're fighting against a Steve, you have to know how to fight Steve. Like some of the other characters in this game, you can kind of learn how to fight against that character during the set. Like if you're playing a best of 5 set, you can still learn how to fight against like a Sephiroth in a best of 5. You can learn how to fight against you can learn how to fight Joker in a best of 5, honestly. But like against Steve, there's like so many things that like Steve has in his tool arsenal, and like so many different kinds of Steves out there that'll do different things, where like you have to know how to play against this specific kind of Steve. Like this player might play this way, or this player might play completely different from the other Steve that you fought against, which is why I do find it pretty hard to fight against Steve consistently too. So maybe even though Steve isn't as consistent as I thought, it would still be hard to consistently fight against Steve.
Right. I think one of the biggest downfalls of Steve is that he loses to Cloud, and Cloud's not like the hardest character to pick up. I mean, even like when you look in the past, like Cloud was obviously just like ridiculously strong in Smash 4, but Cloud was a pretty like pick up and go character. You copy paste your fundamentals and your knowledge of the game, and then like execution wise, the character's not too crazy. So if Steve does start being a really big threat, we could just see players like just pick up Cloud and beat Steve with Cloud, which I think is like a very huge like detrimental part of the character. Just like that fact could tip him over to A, even maybe in the future. So I'm okay with putting him in A, but I think Steve...
Honestly, now I'm thinking about putting him in S. I'm thinking about putting him in S now.
Right.
But do you think Steve is better than Min Min?
Ooh, see, that's a toughie. I don't think Min Min has the potential for S just because of the...
kind of playing just like disadvantage?
Yeah. I just... Like, I don't know how bad her disadvantage is, honestly, though, because like you can throw Ram out and double jump off stage, and it's like still pretty hard to edge guard her.
Her disadvantage isn't bad, but it's like the counterplay for her is pretty streamlined,
right?
Like streamlined, because if you like stay in her blind spot, she can still do stuff, but it's really hard for her to do stuff. So like for her characters, that's why I like do kind of think of her of the DLC gatekeeper character, because like for characters that struggle to get into her blind spot, can't really do anything against her.
Yeah.
But characters that have very good mobility, which is honestly most of the top tiers, struggle, or Min Min struggles against them, which is why I would probably put Min Min at the top of A tier.
I don't think Min Min has the potential to be S, whereas I think Steve has the potential to be S. Correct.
Okay.
So it's like Min Min is definitely after Violet.
I will think that Steve is definitely above Min Min.
Right.
Yeah, I put him in top of A for now, because I do think he also has the potential to be in S tier, and potentially even higher than the other characters. We don't know, because that character has a lot of tools, but in the current meta right now, I think he's definitely...
We still have not seen like Steve counterplay really fleshed out. Like we don't know if it's like optimal to time Steve out, if it's optimal to rush him down, like depending on the matchup and stuff like that. Cloud is privileged in a sense where he can rush him down in a safe manner. But like for Fox, like do you just time Steve out? Do you rush him down? Like there's so like we haven't seen like the counterplay really fleshed out, so we just don't know. So I'm okay with putting Steve, but I will say Steve has the potential to be S, whereas Min Min, I don't feel like she has the potential to be S. And now I think we actually agree on this now, but
wait, but don't you think that Sora has the potential to be S?
I don't,
because we put him at the bottom of A under everybody else.
Well, right. No, well, I think Sora has the potential to at least be like top of A. I don't think it's like I don't think Sora could be like a top 5 character or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think
his disadvantage is still really too bad for that.
Right. Like I don't know. I think Soras are pretty bad at recovering right now because they just autopilot up B. Like you can just go into side B first. Like you don't have to up B first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I think Soras are bad at recovering right now. But no matter what, the juggle disadvantage is always going to be trash. No matter what.
Right.
Like even if the offstage is pretty good, like when you pop Sora up, which is a very like common situation because you can do that anywhere on the stage, right? For offstage interactions, you need to like win neutral at the edge. But like if you win neutral when someone has center stage, you can put them in a juggle situation no matter what, right? So that's like not good to have that.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It's not good at all. So, but you know, touch of death now, but like we haven't really seen that in action as well. I do think Sora's neutral is like not too bad because you're floaty, you have active hitboxes. You know, that's always a good combination. I think for our S, we already kind of agree. I think Joker is the best in the game, like period.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
Pyra/Mythra. And the big thing, a big reason why I think that is Joker's disadvantage is one, more well-rounded. Plus, I also think like Pyra/Mythra, like what we see now, is kind of the package deal. There's no like crazy tech that can push the character much further, like except maybe like offside B. Pyra's following up offside Bs by like timing the neutral, like the double jump neutral air dodge, and then they catch the sword and they go right into like an up air or fair. Like kill confirming offside B would be pretty OD. But other than that, that's kind of like the only tech I know of. There might be more, and then there's like some Mythra foresight stuff with like the roll cancel grabs and stuff like that. But then like footstool gun is just so endless. The possibilities of footstool gun. Void is obviously someone that's trying to push that right now, and there's been a bunch of other Jokers that have known about it and trying to been pushing it. But like there's so many different things. Like you can go like hit 1 into hit 3, make hit 2 whiff, and then you can combo, and depending on like the character and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot of longevity in Joker, and on top of that, Joker's already strong. It was kind of like arguably very like in between those two, right? So yeah, that's how I see like Joker, Pyra/Mythra. They're definitely both S, but I would put Joker above, but not by much.
Yeah. I see them for like the rest of the game staying 1 and 2. Like I don't really see much of a debate for anybody that can pass them. I don't even think Pikachu could pass them, who was probably in the category for a top 3 right now. Might be falling off because we haven't been seeing much Pikachu lately. But I just think that like these are definitely like the two like powerful titans of the game, because they just have all the consistently, they have everything essentially, except like sometimes their recoveries get a little iffy. Like even whenever Joker gets Arsene, his recovery gets a little telegraphed, and just in general Pyra/Mythra's recovery is kind of, sometimes whenever you just hit her pretty far off, it's just kind of like easy just to spike her whenever Mythra's forced to side B. But like even then, like you don't get that situation often, and more times than not these characters are beating you in neutral, so it's hard to get them off stage in general. So which is why I think these characters will always be the top 2 of the game.
Yeah, big agree. So that is us ranking every single DLC character. I'd say the A tier was probably like the hardest part. There's like a lot of these characters are underdeveloped because whether it be just we haven't had much time with them. Obviously they came out a little later than the original cast, right? Or if some of them are just like a little harder to figure out. But that's how we feel currently, and we'll see what the future brings. I hope you guys enjoyed the contest. Let us know how you guys feel about some of these characters. Do you feel like we put them in the right spot? Do you think we're capping? Do you think we don't know shit? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time.
Peace.